Hello everyone, my name is Nicholas Thorn, and I will be your new herbology professor for the upcoming semester. Some things you should know about me. I was born in the States, and ever since I was a little child, I have been strongly connected to the magics of the natural world, magical creatures, magical plants, and everything in between. I always thought that spellcraft could be a bit too polished, too dry. As though there was only a set number of spells in the world and they could only be done so perfectly. So, having observed magic done by creatures and plants, without spell work of any kind, without wands, without traditions of any kind with which to give them their power, I realized that magic is outside of that. Magic is something else in the world, but I didn't know what. So after dutifully completing my wizardry school, I left the US for Ireland, and I practiced under a nettle witch, under the traditions of the Tuatha De Danann, which is an ancient order of elves who have been practicing their magic the same way for 1,000 years at least. The actual dates have been lost to time, but the studies and the power of that, the fascinating origins of that, are still there, ever since they arrived in Ireland. So I studied there for 11 years and picked up quite a bit, including my last name, Thorn. It's sort of an initiation rite. They give you a last name in accordance with the type of magic you studied most well. In my case, it was protection magic. And I had a particular affinity for plants. So I was given the last name Thorn. My birth last name was Bricklebush. That's my family, but I prefer Thorn. It's more me. After that, I left for England to study alchemy under a wizard there. I practiced studies of the Hermetic order and Hermetic practices as passed down by the famed wizard Hermes Trismegistus. Of course, he's long since passed on, but his studies are foundational for the art of alchemy, and they are fascinating. Even if alchemy is not your final study, it's good to understand a little bit about the core values of that, because that is where I started to find some of the origins of magic. There's a bunch of different sources, of course, that I can't go over all of them now, but I look forward to teaching all of you about this. Right, so I finished my alchemical studies in England, and then I moved back to the States and traveled around here for a while. Yeah, ever since then, I've been just going around learning from local herbalists, studying some native studies, and communing with the plants themselves. I learned a particular language during my time in Ireland. A language, not Gaelic, a language that has been largely forgotten by humans. The elves picked it up, the elves remember it, but it's a language that connects directly to the magic in living things. And with this key, I have been able to communicate with magical plants and creatures in the natural world anywhere I go, and learn the magics that they have, the lessons they have to teach, the things they've learned over thousands of years of perfecting their art. Hundreds of thousands, really, for many of them. So I've been studying with them for a while. Somewhat recently, this last year, I attended a particularly life-changing lecture about wand lore and creation by your own Professor Mai. It was after this when I pulled her aside and we talked for a while about the origins of the magics in woods and the types of magic in different types of trees, very specifically down to like a subspecies, that she asked me to apply to the herbologist professor position at Worthwich School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Of course I did, and I was accepted. And so I look forward to meeting all of you. Hearing more about the previous professors you've had and things that you have learned so far. I would love to cater this a little more specifically to you, the students, yourselves. So feel free to reach out to me online and let me know what you've learned so far, what kinds of things you liked, what kinds of things were not as great, or didn't connect with you as well. And let's make this a discussion. I look forward to meeting all of you soon in the upcoming semester, as soon as things return to normal, whatever that looks like. Till then, it was a pleasure getting to meet you, and have a blessed winter.